interests, like and Sam Cedar having an, I have no idea. I'm not sure if it's 100% true or not, but an MSNBC contract, he had one at least at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's that. Then there's the $20 million from Katzenberg for that fueled TYT's studio and their newsroom. And they have an interest in perpetuating Russiagate, and despite it being an obvious falsehood. So as long as enough people realize where the real opportunists and the disinformation come from, there's so much more potential for being able to unite around common issues that benefit all of us.
Yeah. Well said. So we got a super chat from the Jimmy Dore show. Looks like we have some big ears listening in. Thank you so much, Jimmy or Steph. Thank you so much for that donation. It says talking to people gets you iced by the FBI. Look at Fred Hampton, Malcolm X, and MLK. Fuzz, what can you say about these socialist voices that got targeted by the FBI for trying to bring unity?
So another thing that a lot of people need to realize is how the corporate media is utilized as an arm of the capitalist state in setting apart their preferred narrative. How the Black Panthers were often highlighted as thugs, swinging their guns everywhere on the cops and trying to make them seem evil in comparison to when the entire time that the only time that the Black Panthers harmed themselves was as a self-defense from the continued oppression that they were suffering under the police. And a lot of the times, Lenin writes about this, that whenever legendary revolutionary figures are dead, the capitalist state will try to hollow them out and make them seem useless and harmless, like how MLK was, and his history was significantly nerfed from his much more radical aspirations right before he was assassinated.
Yeah, 100%. Jimmy Dore, another super chat, says half the left is controlled opposition.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Majority Report is on Comcast platform, Peacock app, along with Sam's MSNBC contract. Do you think that Sam Cedar is going to say anything that will tarnish that contract? Do you think that the mainstream media that pays Sam Cedar wants us to unite? They want us to stay distracted. That's why the mainstream media puts out all these stories to try to keep us divided, all these sensational stories to try to make us mad at our neighbor, instead of realizing that the real enemy are the ones that are paying the mainstream media, that are creating all these stories to distract us. So Charles, Marcus, and Fuzz, you guys want to add on to any of that?
Oh, I definitely want to add on to that. I mean, we got to remember one thing, and this is easy work for any of us to find out. Graham is the one who put me onto this, Graham Elwood, if you guys are not sure what I'm talking about. But just look through CAA. Just literally look at the names. You got all of the TYT sitting right there with CBS reporters, The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. You literally have all these names sitting right there. So when they all start speaking in unison and just varying it up a little bit, and then, okay, this one will decide to have a different viewpoint this week, and then next week, this one will decide. But if you start paying attention to overall what they're saying, they're all saying the same thing, and they're all pushing a certain narrative. And the fact that they're all working for the same people and receiving a check from the same people and being represented by the same people, come on, people, let's wake up. This isn't that hard to figure out.
Absolutely. I'll follow up on that. And I think shout out definitely to you, Franco. You've got some big ears listening to Jimmy Dore's chatting here. But no, flat out, these people are trying to either lobby to get jobs on these networks, or they're trying to get some of the money to get funding for this stuff. You know, I said this when Jimmy was pushing the whole force the vote issue. It's mighty ironic for someone like Cenk Uygur or Sam Seder, or probably any of these people who don't have a healthcare struggle, to sit back and tell other people that no, it's not the time to push for healthcare, when you've got people like myself who don't see a doctor on a regular basis. Anytime we've had injuries, we're trying to treat them at home. We still go out. You know, I've had a nagging neck injury and a knee injury for 5+ years now. I can't afford to get a damn thing done about it, and I have to fight through it and go bust my ass somewhere between 40 to 60 hours a week. Meanwhile, they sit there in the comfort of a chair and tell us all not to put pressure on politicians who, in some cases, their little institutions helped get elected, right? And now that they've gotten into politics, they've folded. Instead of sticking to their message, be a one-term congressperson and do the right thing. Now it's no, I've got my hands on some health care. It's a hell of a lot better than my health care as a bartender. So let me just keep doing what I'm doing right now for myself, and you all can get to it later on. These people are the proverbial wolf in sheep's clothing. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Jimmy Dore.
Could I add one more thing on? And shout out to Jimmy. You know, it's amazing the work that he does over there, and we need voices like that. What I wish would happen is, instead of them wanting to go back and forth Twitter exchanges, with Jimmy, if you guys really have that big of an issue, why don't you just sit down and have a live debate? Because you can't get away from anything there. You let everybody decide here and there, and then if you're not man or woman enough to step up for that debate, then that's pretty indicating also. So I already know the answer to this. You take Sam Seder, you take any of those clowns over there in the boutique left, and that's what you're going to get. I say come down and speak to somebody like me who works an average job, 8 to 5, busting my hump, and then get home and try to do content with all the studying and researching I do. Sit here and tell me in my face that, no, this is all about Jimmy. Even if it was, let's just play devil's advocate. Let's say even if it was, it would be helping people. What is your problem? Why can't you guys get past that and just look at what the end result would be? That tells me it's nothing but jealousy and bitterness and stuff they're trying to do for clickbaits and ratings.
And you saw how Sam Seder folded when he was debating Brianna Joy Gray, because he wasn't expecting her to smack him down with facts. It's not easy for Sam when he's not hiding in his studio, where he gets to control what is said, what questions get said when he's on his show, when he yells at people who call him, who try to hold him accountable. He can't do that.
And how ironic is it that when Jimmy went after AOC, the response was he's committing acts of violence because he's yelling or cursing.
Yeah, and then what was
Sam Seder's response to Brianna Joy Gray? I just spent 3 hours getting yelled at. No, dude, you spent 3 hours getting facts handed to you and getting your ass handed to you by someone who knew what they were talking about.
Yeah, let him debate Marcus.
You would definitely get yelled at then. Because it's none of that little soft, touchy, and I don't really care about your damn feelings either. So,
he also tagged Nico one day, and then Nico was like, all right, let's debate. And then he disappeared, and then never even acknowledged Nico ever again. It's different when you have a moderator, and if it's not you who's controlling the questions and everything in your studio. So Jimmy Dore or Steph, thank you so much for the super chat again. They're responding to what you said, Marcus, about CAA. Thank you for bringing that up, Marcus. He said yes. They said yes. CAA wrote that letter to Tulsi saying they would ruin her for backing Bernie and TYT, and TYT went right along with it.
Yep.
Robbie Yeager had a fantastic article about that. It's called "Tulsi Gabbard Has Enemies in High Places," and it gives a list of how many people are represented by CAA. And we have Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian on the same list as people who are in mainstream media. They're on the same list as Ben Shapiro. Like that like they're on the same email list, these people. So they all have an agenda. Jimmy Dore was saying like that when Cenk Uygur got the $20 million from Katzenberg, that he got an email that said they have to shift to the center. They have to pivot to the center.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you guys, like it's controlled opposition. It's controlled opposition. I think there's one more super chat. Let me see. I don't want to make sure I don't miss anything. So Shadow Band Refugee, thank you so much. It says organizing means talking to people you disagree with to organize a path forward, not screaming fascist into an echo chamber. Jimmy Dore, Ali, Red Sea Simp. Yeah, 100%. Like, how are you going to change people's mind if you're just like fascist? You think that guy's going to be like, oh my God, I just realized I'm wrong. I got called a fascist. I got called a neo-Nazi. I got to change my ways now. And then Jimmy Dore and Steph also said they won't debate because look what happened to Cedar with Bree. Exactly. Yeah, go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah. I was going to say, oh shit, I completely brain farted. Going ahead.
Fuzz and Charles, you guys want to say anything?
I've been going for a little bit if you want to say something, Fuzz.
No. Go ahead.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, I remember now. Sorry. What I was going to say is not only are they like on these same emails lists, I mean, they're literally represented by the same people. Now, let's extend that onto sports. When we see an athlete who's represented by a certain person, which CAA represents athletes also, you start noticing, somebody goes on The View, and then they're all of a sudden saying, well, Kamala, I think she would be a good pick. Or you see Ice Cube out there starting to talk about this, or whichever other celebrity, which you see out there, and they start, all of a sudden I'm thinking that this person who's running for governor in Tennessee would be a great choice for Democrat. And then all of these people, the reason why is because if they don't get to you through politics or somebody's stream, they got to try to get to you through another means. So they're going to try through sports, they're going to try through entertainment, through musicians, whatever, as long as they get you pushed into that direction.
Well said.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. I think they've definitely used celebrities, musicians to keep people pushed into the two-party spectrum there. But I'll say this, too. Going back to what you brought up about the money, give Ben Shapiro his credit, and I'm not going to give him that much. But when he debated Cenk Uygur, I think he made a good point. When Cenk was talking about getting the money out of politics, I agree with Cenk, but there was low-hanging fruit there for Ben to say, okay, how about all these people that gave you money? You got to understand that information that Jimmy leaked out to us, that when Katzenberg or whoever it was gave the money, they said, okay, you're going to have to tone it back down. What do you expect? That's what happens. That's why they buy you off. They saw that you were becoming successful. And you might look at it as, they just want to help our network. Okay, well, who's your source? They're
trying to sheep herd people.
Right. They're donating to Hillary Clinton. What did Hillary Clinton do to help people? You know what I mean? Hillary Clinton's got a disastrous record, and they thought she was the real deal, so they gave money to her, and now they want to give money to you. That something smells rotten in Denmark here. It shouldn't take a genius to figure out you don't want that money if you want to stay true to your cause. So if you're taking that money, understand this. Number one, there's going to be strings attached to it. Also, if you're willing to take that money, that tells me that you're not really in this to inform people, spread the truth, or make a difference. You got in this game to pretend to do all three of those things and capitalize, and you're really just in it for the money. And that makes you no different than CNN or any of these news networks. You know why? Because once upon a time, they started off as informative news. And then the minute they were allowed to get rich off of propaganda, what have we heard ever since?
Yeah, and it's always the case. Like, remember, like, there are some politicians who are like, yeah, I take corporate money, but it's not going to change me. Like, it's not going to change me. And then Cenk and Anna were saying the same thing. It's not going to change us. And even Kyle Kalinske was defending them. It was like, no, I know Cenk and Anna. They're not going to change.
Yeah.
What did we end up seeing?
Kyle Kalinske said that. He's like, they're a zebra that won't change their stripes or whatever analogy he gave. Well, Yeah, I believe you just found the first two stripe shifting zebras, my friend, because they have definitely done some change.
Yeah, 100%, man.
It almost seemed like when she switched to that blonde, platinum blonde look, that was almost like, okay, now I'm changing. And for those who are, into some of that conspiracy theory stuff, the MK Ultra, you guys know what I'm talking about out there.
Yeah.
Oh! I forgot. Since you brought up money, it was something that I did want to mention because I started out protesting. What was it when the Trayvon Martin stuff was going on? Jordan Davis, when I was living out in Florida, and it was basically Black Lives Matter already before it got the name, before it started moving, and when it turned into something and actually started growing, what happens? It gets basically taken over. If you guys don't believe me, look up how much money Black Lives Matter actually makes, and then tell me what they do with that money.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I remember hearing about that myself. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the super chat. Suffragium says, thank you, Franco. I appreciate tonight's guests and camaraderie. I would love to hear from Black Panthers and Anticonquista. Together, we are stronger. Don't let them divide us. We are brothers and sisters. Yeah, and I am definitely going to reach out to somebody to represent the Black Panthers, and Anticonquista is on my list to reach out to as well. I'll probably do it right after this stream. Reach out to them. Hopefully I'll have them on as soon as possible, probably next week.